Good evening and thank you for joining us. Today, Canadians honor this country's Indigenous community. This year, there is a heightened focus on the systemic racism and inequalities faced by First Nations people every day, including recent allegations that have come to surface, accusing healthcare workers in BC of discriminating against Indigenous patients with a game. As Abigail Bimman reports, many in the community hope Canadians are getting the picture and will push for change.
My Sisters, I Dance for You, a powerful 3.5 minutes created by Willow Francis. She's just 16. It was a school project her teacher encouraged her to post publicly.
A lot of my friends are sharing the video and they're messaging me about it.
Even your non-native friends?
Yeah.
Now, Francis hopes it spreads awareness about missing and murdered Indigenous women. On this National Indigenous Peoples Day, systemic racism is in sharper focus. Not far from where the Francises live, Rodney Levi was killed by police earlier this month.
Well, it's scary,
our neighboring community.
Yeah. You're not sure, should I call the cop if I need help, or?
While in British Columbia,
this Price is Right game is so offensive and just so incredibly disgusting.
The Price is Right, allegedly played by BC emergency room staff to guess the blood alcohol level of patients, particularly Indigenous ones.
They're doctors. They're brilliant. They've done so much learning. And if they can't even unpack and understand the implications of their behavior, how are we going to expect everybody to have these understandings?
Looking Indigenous isn't an option for people when they wake up in the morning. So to face that kind of treatment and stigma, just when people look at your face, can you imagine how that feels?
The chair of Indigenous Studies at the University of Winnipeg says her research shows hospitals and police stations are some of the worst places in terms of Indigenous racism. But she is hopeful in this moment the impact of the Black Lives Matter movement means more Canadians are paying attention.
Canadians need to be called out for their racism, whether they're aware of that racism or not. There is systemic discrimination.
It's been more than a year since the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls delivered its final report, but the government has yet to act, blaming COVID-19.
We're not going to let this lay. We're not going to allow it to collect dust.
Oh, my story is history.
The pandemic did force most Indigenous Peoples Day events online, but no matter the form, everyone agrees talking about racism and giving a voice to those impacted is so important today and every day. Abigail Bimman, Global News, Ottawa.